You know, when I joined the service back in 1983, seems like a lifetime ago, and for some it probably is. That's 28 years or so ago. Back then, the world was a slightly different place. The United States and the Soviet Union were still at odds heavily into the Cold War, and I was a young guy at a high school and trying to figure out how to fit in and what to do, and I'd always been interested in serving the country, and I looked at the armed forces as a potential opportunity for my future, my life. So I chose to join the Canadian Forces under the regular officer training program. I grew up in St. Catharines, right next to the canal, and I saw ships passing by all the time. So I think that had a bit of an influence in my decision to go into the Navy. Life on board ship is much like a small city. We're self-contained. You leave the pier, you take everything with you. If you need groceries, gas, bullets, and stores, it goes with you to sea for the period of time that you're at sea. Occasionally we will replenish at sea because we have that capability. We can get groceries and gas and munitions at sea, but generally we're self-contained. And because of that, your whole life revolves around that small space on the water. You work long hours, you have time to sleep, and you generally want to take advantage of that time, and you have a little bit of time to rest and relax. I remember my wife talking about the times when she would have to sit by the phone knowing that we were going to be important. God forbid that she should miss the call because there was going to be no other call. Today we're able to communicate with families. We have email and telephones from sea, which is great. You're able to stay in contact with people. There are times when you're going to be up extremely long hours because of the mission that you're on, the expectations that are placed in front of you. The Great Lakes deployment is a good example of that. Long, tight passages through multiple locks over a 24-hour period. You try to get rest and turn the ship over to the XO and on opportunities where perhaps the water is a little wider and the rest of the ship's a little less. And if you find that you're unable to carry on, then you have to understand that as well, and you have to take steps to get the rest that you need. I would say 36 hours straight is not an unheard of amount of time where you're up constantly working, and that was in the last phase of the operation where it's high-intensity warfare. They do that intentionally to stress you, to see what your actions are, and to put you through your paces. It's a very calm place to be at times and very hectic as well. When you're in the middle of operation, you're working extremely long hours, you're tired, you can barely get ready, to sleep, and then you got to get back up again and get back to work. But on occasions, it's a very surreal place. I can recall times early in my career, when I was on the West Coast. I think one of my first experiences as a lookout on one of the ships on the West Coast, HMCS Mackenzie. And we were sailing towards Prince Rupert, and it was a perfectly calm night, big, gorgeous moon, just a beautiful place to be. And then 2 years later, I was sailing across the Pacific in the same ship in a storm that would rival any, waves 5, 6, 7, 8 meters high. I remember one of the bridge watchkeepers singing the song of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald just to get us as trainees on edge. We were perfectly safe, but the storm was significant. So it's an interesting life in that regard. There is always another course. There's always a next level of qualification. There's always a next challenge for you. And the opportunity to be educated, whether it's second language training, advanced studies courses, or post-secondary education, the Canadian Forces offers that to you. And I think that's probably the most gratifying part of being in the forces. You never stop learning.